So yeah, we're doing a Let's Play of Persona 5. This is in regards to the rules that Atlus has decided to put into place for streaming. So basically what's going to happen is I don't have any video capturing devices, nor do I really plan on trying to use that stuff, because this is mostly a protest in the rules that Atlus has decided to put into place for streamers. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do a Let's Play of this game where when there's cutscenes, I'll provide commentary and I'll talk. But when I'm actually playing the game, because this is on my phone, it's kind of hard to hold the phone and play the game at the same time. So when there's not cutscenes going on and I'm exploring dungeons and doing the fun part of the game, I put that in air quotes because everything about Persona is fun. Not, of course, having to follow weird streaming rules for whatever reason is not fun. So we're gonna poke fun at the streaming rules, and of course we're still gonna abide by the streaming rules. So some of the streaming rules is my videos can be 90 minutes long, but my question is when I'm not showing video game content and it's off screen, and maybe I'm doing like FaceTime or something, or I'm doing the dungeon crawling part and the camera's down and I'm not actually showing the content, but I'm talking about the content. I don't think that counts against me. I've been playing for about 5 hours and I'm nowhere near the magical timeline that they have listed. I am at the first boss, so I'll give big spoilers right now. Like I'll be showing the boss fight. So in case you were like, oh my gosh, there's gonna be a boss at the end of this dungeon. Holy shit, yeah, there's a boss. So that's the part where I'm at right now, and I'll try and stream some of that too, because in the rules it says that I can stream the boss, and we'll go from there. I believe that this game is about being a rebel, being rebellious, and sometimes questioning things, and I have chosen to go along the lines to question Atlus and, as they refer to it, their masters, to which my response to Atlus being afraid of their masters, this whole game is about being a rebel and having a change of heart and realizing the mistakes that you've made, right? So why can't we just rebel against our masters and tell them what for? I mean, I feel like I'm kind of bending the rules when it comes to what it means to be a Let's Play. I don't normally do Let's Plays, and this is also pretty bad quality. But hey, you might as well start something somewhere, and might as well start now. And so, with all that all being said, let's give this a shot. And I'm gonna press start, or any button as it says, and then I'm gonna load my profile. And yeah, I'm on 422. So I guess I'll start with another spoiler tag in case people are like watching this and they're like, what the fuck is this kid rambling about? Or I guess guy, I'm not really a kid. Basically, I started playing the game and then I read the thing that Atlus was making a big deal about. And I decided that I would make a stream / a Let's Play of this game. And so let's get started. So yeah, where I'm at currently, I just completed the dungeon. So here's some spoilers. So in previous games, you would like do the dungeon, and at the end of the dungeon, there'd be a boss. Well, instead of doing that, there's now like, you find the treasure, but there's no treasure because the villain needs to materialize the treasure. So in order to materialize the treasure, you need to do a calling card. If anything, I think this is Persona being like, man, how can we draw out the dungeon crawling parts a bit more? So you explore the dungeons, and you unlock warping points, which is really cool. Like, I'm glad they switched from not random dungeons, tower things, to more of like explore dungeons. And maybe I'll talk about more when we actually get to the gameplay part. But like I said, I just did the first palace, so I can't really stream it. But basically, you spend. Well, it took me 2 days. It took me 2 in-game days. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Trying to get through the palace. Namely because everything is so expensive in this game. Like, I'm like, oh, let me go buy medicine. $2,000. Well, sorry, 2,000 yen for medicine. I'm like, well, this is useless. I need, like, healing SP. There's no healing SP. I'm like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? So I get, like, halfway through the dungeon, and I have no healing items. I'm out of magic. And the only way to, like, easily defeat monsters in this game is getting a hold up, which is, of course, everyone's favorite thing where you knock down all the enemies. This is a very Mega 10 game. Every Mega 10 game has this, where, well, has like the exploit weaknesses, and then if you get them all exploited, like you normally are on the up and up. But basically, if you do that, you can then go into hold 'em mode or hold them up mode or whatever it's called, and then from there you can do an all-out attack, which everyone loves from Persona 3 and 4, or you can do the wonderful Mega 10, which is talk to demons. I mean shadows. I mean personas. I mean shadows. Yes, shadows. Even though they're all demons from Mega 10, I think there might be some new ones, or at least the characters have new ones. Basically, they're all the demons from a Mega 10 game, which is kind of a bummer because I was a fan of the Shadows. Like, Shadows was kind of cool. Like, it's what set aside Persona from Mega 10, except for Persona 1 and 2, but we don't really count those because those are really old JRPGs from when they were just being like Mega 10 spin-offs. I played a little bit of them. They're like more Mega 10 than what I like. I mean, don't get me wrong, I played Mega 10 4, and I like Mega 10 4, and I like the sequel to Mega 10 4. But the reason why I really, really like Persona is that I feel like it's an easier Mega 10. And then having to go back to talk. Oh, so talk. So to get Personas, you have to either talk or fuse them. Well, as we all know, talking from Mega 10 games has been not the greatest thing in the world. So instead of showing the loading screen, how about we actually get into some gameplay here? So yeah, Mega 10 and talking, right? So I'm gonna check my messages, and we're gonna do the calling card thing. Sorry if I'm kind of speeding through this. Like, kind of already did this yesterday. So basically it says okay, and then I'll head out to the hideout. But anyway, so talking in Mega 10 games basically goes along like this. You go up to a demon and you're like, hey, and then you're like, hey, be my partner, and they're like, okay, but you have to do these bullshit rules. And then they'll like all have like different personalities and stuff. So like, let's say you have a persona, or you have a demon based off of like slime, right? So like, every demon has a family type, and so in this game, every demon or every persona has every shadow has a arcane type, which is like a family type from Mega 10. So basically, you would talk to them, and they would have like their own personalities and such. So like a slime. I think it's a chariot from like the older games. I don't know if there's still a chariot in this one. I don't know if slime's in here. But for this particular example, let's say slime is a chariot, right? So he'll have like chariot personalities. But that doesn't really mean much when you're like someone like me who doesn't really like read into that stuff and doesn't really follow it. So to me, it all just seems random, right? And then you have to like pick choices, and it'll be like, give me energy or give me food. Well, luckily, Persona has changed that talk type, right? So now it's ask me questions about my personality, or ask me questions about society, which is kind of cool. But like, again, you could run into like, let's say you tried slime number 1, right, and it doesn't work, and you thought you understand the personality of a slime. Then you run into a slime later on again in the dungeon, and this slime's like, fuck everything the other guy just said, like none of that stuff makes me happy. And it's like, well, what the heck, I just want to recruit you, right? not to make this be like Pokemon, but it's like, man, I just want to catch you because I have like this giant Pokedex, or I mean Contendrium, is how you say it. And it's like, what's the point? So, anyways, enough rambling. Let's get some gameplay going on here. So, like I said, I did the hideout.
It's finally time.
And
Are you ready?
oh yeah, this is one of the things. This is another thing I don't understand about Persona and the Mega 10 series. So when it came to the 3DS, they were like, we're gonna do full voice acting, and then they did stuff like this, where it's like the character says a dialogue, like one or two words, and then it's like, that's fully dialogue, right? It's like, no, I mean you have like words like, here, let me try and read it out to you, right? So it says, all right, all that's left now is to send out the calling card and take Kamoshida's heart. Okay, so you're gonna have to help me with the name characters here, because I'm still used to Persona 4, and I'm like, dude who's like Yosuke, I think it's Yosuke. I'm probably gonna mix them up with Persona 3 guys, because ironically enough, I'm a fan of, so I like the cast of Persona 3, but I like the story of Persona 4 a lot better. And the story for Persona 5 seems to be taking on the role of Persona 4, which is, there's some weird shit going on in the world, and the kids are trying to figure it out. But it's not really murder mysteries. It's more like they're rebels, and they say shit, and they realize they learn stuff about people. So, like, for example, the coach is like an asshole, a super asshole. I'm not gonna go into like spoilers or anything, because Atlas doesn't want me to do spoilers. But basically, coach is an asshole, and they find out what he does to be an asshole. And then they also get shucked into the Shadow Realm, or whatever the hell it's called in this one. And they're like, wow, this shadow version of the teacher is an asshole. And then they find out that the real person is an asshole. And then the teacher, they do some events in the story, and the teacher catches them, and then he's like, I'm gonna make you go to the expel board. And basically the main character can't get expelled from school. So like Persona 3 and like Persona 4, they'll have, so like Persona 3 was weird. Well, Persona 3 wasn't weird because you had the moonlight, or not the moonlight, you had the full moon. So like every month there'd be a full moon, and if you didn't get something done, you'd be screwed. I think it was like climb the tower or something, and then like some event would happen. And so basically you were climbing the tower to train yourself to prepare for the full moon event. And basically the way Persona 3 prevented you